Welcome to Connected Through Change. Men supporting menopause, two voices, one journey. Your host is Russell Betts, author of the international best-selling book, The Good Husband's Guide to Menopause, and founder of the Connected Through Change movement. Each week, you'll hear both the men's and women's perspectives, so you can understand what's really happening beneath the surface and learn how to stay steady, supportive, and connected through one of life's biggest transitions. If you want clarity, confidence, and a stronger relationship during menopause and beyond, you're in the right place. Let's begin.
Hello. Last time we were together, we named something that usually stays hidden in the static of a busy life. We talked about being relationally overdrawn. We looked at that heavy, bone-deep exhaustion not as a personal failure of your character, but as a structural reality of your life. Most of us have spent the last few months, maybe the last few years, treating our lives like a math problem that won't balance. We've been convinced that if we could just find the right variable to cut or the right efficiency to add, the equation would finally resolve. We look at the calendar. We look at our sleep hygiene. We try saying no more often. But lately, even that no feels like a paper dam holding back a structural flood. And so, we do what we've always done. We reach for the toolkit. We look for a way to work the problem. This is where we have to be very careful. When we feel this overdrawn, when the demands of aging parents and growing children and a plateauing career and a long-term partnership all hit their peak complexity at the exact same time, our natural instinct is to reach for tools designed for a much simpler life. We try to apply time management to grief management. We try to apply conflict resolution to systemic overload. We think that if we just find the right words for the big talk with our partner or the right meditation app, the lights will stay on. But there's a quiet, hard observation we have to make here, one that's difficult to sit with. It is very possible that you are trying to fix a structural collapse with a renovation budget. When you realize you're in the red, the impulse is to earn your way back to black. You double down on effort, you buy the planner, you schedule the date night, you try to bypass the discomfort of the debt by doing times something, but the exhaustion remains. And it remains because those actions are often just attempts to avoid the weight of what is actually happening. Think about the wiring in your life. Imagine a house built in the 1950s. At the time, the wiring was excellent. It was designed to handle a few lamps, a toaster, a radio. It was perfectly suited for that world. But your life isn't that world anymore. You've added a Tesla charger. You've added central AC, a smart kitchen, a home theater. In relational terms, you've added the immense, simultaneous complexity of midlife. When the breakers trip, you don't need a more expensive light bulb. You need to acknowledge that the current wiring simply cannot carry the load. The strategies you built in your 20s and 30s, the pushing through, the figuring it out, the taking one for the team, those were the 1950s wiring. They got you here. They worked for a long time. But now, they are the very tools that are stripping the gears. When the system is this overloaded, your nervous system enters a state of high alert fragility. You might notice that you're hyper aware of every single demand, the way the teenager slams the door, the specific tone of a work email, to the silence of your partner at dinner, yet you feel paralyzed by the inability to meet any of it with the quality of presence you used to have. This isn't because you've lost your edge. It's because the account you are drawing from was never designed to fund this many simultaneous high-stakes investments at once. If we try to fix this prematurely, we often end up leaking our remaining energy into frantic, low-impact actions. We try to solve the distance in our marriage on a Tuesday night when we are already running on fumes. We try to fix our parents' declining health with a spreadsheet, and all we do is deepen the deficit. Containment isn't a strategy to change the situation. It's the act of holding the tension of the unsolved. It's the recognition that your partner's distance, or your mother's health, or your own sense of vanishing. These are not problems to be solved by next week. They are realities to be carried. When you name the load without trying to drop it, you move out of that reactive panic and into a state of heavy, honest clarity. The weight you feel is not an illusion. It is the literal gravity of midlife complexity. And you cannot outrun gravity. We are staying here for a moment. We are letting the to-do list sit cold. We are looking for the edges of the room and defining the shape of the debt. This is not a failure of your will. It is the limits of your architecture. The house is dark because the breakers have tripped. You can feel the heat in the walls where the wires have been working too hard for too long. The impulse to reach for the switch is there, the urge to flip it back on, to try one more time, to force the lights to stay bright for just one more evening. But tonight, the switch stays down. There is only the sound of the house settling in the dark, and the weight of the air, and the slow, hot hum of the wiring behind the plaster. The heat is still there in the walls. The dark is still there in the room. The switch stays down.
Thanks for joining us on Connected Through Change. Remember, it takes two voices to walk one journey, and you don't have to navigate this alone. To go deeper, grab Russell's international best-selling book, The Good Husband's Guide to Menopause. Explore the weekly blog or take the Communication Clarity Assessment at connectedthroughchange.com. Stay steady, stay connected, and I'll see you in the next episode.